Chapter 7 City of Mesto. The grill is built into the back part of the bar and is run by a catman with a name tag labeled the Commander. The two warriors weave through a maze of creatures until they reach a table that is empty enough for them to join. Charminos calls out, waving his hand to a pixie floating by. "A shot Burroughs whiskey and 2 shots of gin." Charminos slaps Almad's back. "What do you want to eat?" Burger sounds nice," Almad says as he sits down. Before sitting down, Charminos calls out over the crowd, "And 1 hangry burger!" The pixie nods and flies away. Amalthea nears a crowd of cheering people, walks around it, and sees a performing elemental magician. She dances as water snakes around her. The rainbow-haired young girl wears a dazzling outfit, with cloths and beads hanging off and memorizing look when she moves. Whoa. Amalthea works her way to the front of the crowd, well within noticing range. The element magician whips water in her direction, but retracts it before it hits Amalthea. "Ah!" She squeals as the crowd laughs and claps for the magician. Amalthea holds out her hand as her staff appears. She spins it in her hand and fires a light, dark energy blast at the magician. She dissolves it before it gets near the performer. The magician squints at her, and Amalthea raspberries back. The crowd cheers, and Amalthea feels a hand pushing her forward. A pink pixie lands on the table and places a plate on it with the drinks and a burger. Charminos sets both the rock whiskey and a gin next to the burger as Almad puts his hair up in a bun. "Time to take your medicine, my friend." "I thought you were going to drink." Almad picks up the burger and takes a bite. Charminos points to the gin. "This is for Amalthea becoming a master." He points to the whiskey. "This will curb that sadness from earlier." After some convincing, Almad agrees. He slams back the whiskey and winces from the burn. Charminos pats him on the back. "There you go, girl. Now a toast. To your and Amalthea's future." They clink their drinks together, tap them on the table, then take their shots. The elemental magician stands face to face with Amalthea as the crowd cheers and places bets. "The name is Faye. No spells, I'll start, okay?" Amalthea looks at her in pure confusion. Amalthea. What?" Faye backs away and charges a water ball at the end of her short staff. "Catch this!" Faye slings the water at Amalthea. The young master squeals but stops the water with her staff. "Now throw it back." Amalthea complies and tosses it back as the crowd stops cheering. Faye catches it, spins, and slings it back at Amalthea. "Ah!" She catches it and prepares to simply toss it back. She bites her tongue, lifts one leg, and slings the water ball under her leg at Faye. Several shot glasses sit in front of a burger still with one bite in it. The entire table is engaged in a story currently being told by an inebriated Alma. He sloppily places one hand on Charminos' shoulder and face palms. "So, me and Ned are in the meeting hall, and my 12-year-old mind thinks, yeah, 100 feet off the ground, great place to spar." Almad stands up, and his eyes widen as he realizes how drunk he is. He puts his hands up in a grappling motion as the other patrons at the table look on. He's standing near the edge. Don't even have my armor on. I grab him, kick his knee out from behind, and this twat flings me off the side. Charminos squints at Almad, then closes his eyes and raises his hand. With slightly slurred speech, he replies, "I mean, you did attack him." The members of the table laugh. Almad points to Charminos and says in a quick, whimsically serious tone, "Shut up, I'm the victim." Everyone gets a good chuckle before Almad continues. "So he sees my brown robes and thankfully slows me down before I hit the ground." Almad grasps his left shoulder. "I can still pop this baby out of socket from time to time." Charminos leans forward with his hand out in a halting fashion. "It's so gross." Faye passes the ball to a soaked, red-faced Amalthea, who is struggling to find moves she can do. Faye is adding quick flips and spinning action, while Amalthea fumbles a few of her moves and occasionally does not touch the water ball. Faye raspberries at Amalthea, who frowns at this game she has never played before. Finally, it is over as the street performer catches the water ball and holds it. She smiles maliciously at Amalthea, then switches her face to a cheerful one as she splashes the water onto herself as a show of good sportsmanship. Amalthea smiles and laughs at this, as Faye holds out her hand. She pulls Amalthea in for a one-arm hug and whispers, "You did great for a first-timer." As they release each other, Amalthea smiles back at her. "Thank you." The young master walks away. She feels a new level of invigoration as she magically cleans the water from herself and looks for new entertainment. "Are you sure you want to leave?" a drunk Charomino says to a very drunk Ahmad. The old master slaps one hand on the table and replies through slurred lips, "I'ma walk to your house, I'ma throw up in your yard, then I'm gonna go to bed. Got it?" Charminos laughs and stands up. "Got it." Amalthea walks down a brightly lit street to a small restaurant and bar. "The Jackal," the sign reads. Curiosity leads her into the restaurant where a few card games are underway. Creatures of all kinds sit playing blackjack for various amounts of money. Amalthea hunches over the shoulder of a massive deer man with equally massive antlers, which leaves one wondering how he navigates doors. He is adorned with a combination of leather armor mixed with steel pauldrons, gauntlets, greaves, and a heavy iron breast and backplate. Next to this large mess of fur and armor is a two-handled sword with a copper-lined crossguard and pommel. Both handles have a pine green silk tapestry wrapped around them. This is a weapon that was made specifically for him. The deer man lifts his cards, looking at the top of them. Amalthea looks with him at a jack of clubs and a six of hearts. "You should ask for another card." He looks at her and answers in a deep, booming voice, "You think so, little one?" With a warm smile, the young mage nods to him. "I play this all the time at the temple," Amalthea responds with gusto to the surprised deer man. "In that case, I will, and I'll raise." The dealer, an elf in leather pants and a sewn shirt, hands him a card as he separates 5 coins and pushes them into the pot. "Oh wow, you guys are using real money?" the mage says with a hint of worry as they both look at the card. A 10 of clubs. She sighs as he lays his cards flat, keeping a soft smile. The deer man shakes his head no. "It's just spending money," he explains as he lays his cards down and turns to her. "I came here for a small vacation, just long enough to lose some money." He looks back at the table as the current game comes to an end. "Would you like to play, young one?" She perks up to the excitement of a fun card game. "Yeah, that would be super fun." The deer man sets 5 coins on the table. To her right is the dealer, a bull man, and another elf, both wearing commoner clothing. "Are we letting children play now, Awiuzdi?" the bullman asks in a sarcastic tone while gesturing toward the young mage. "Afraid she will win, Joran?" the deer man retorts as he eyes the bullman. Joran responds with a loud snort as the former dealer hands him the cards to be shuffled and distributed. 10 coins bang onto the table. Cards slide along the table and stop in front of the 4 players. Awi carefully picks up the 2 cards and holds them so that Amalthea can see. An ace of hearts and a 2 of diamonds rest in his hand. Biting her lip, the young mage goes into thinking mode shortly before making her move. Hit. Joran flicks a card their way, and the sight of the card makes her sigh and frown as Awi smirks, closing his cards in his hands. "Well, he's out," the elf in leather says with a smile as he looks at the commoner elf. The commoner responds with a sneaky smile on his face, matching the bravado of his fellow elf. A smirk forms on the bullman as he looks at the card he asked for. "Kirox, save me." The disgruntled beast lays back in his chair with his hands in his lap. "Guess their kids are going to starve tonight." Amalthea initially frowns to this claim, but always stops her. "Don't let him fool you. He's a single calf who never even had a lover." "Oh, okay," the young master responds in a shaky tone as the group laughs. "Poor Mama will never receive that house on the hill. I'm sorry, Mama." The group cracks up as the bullman throws his hands up in an overly dramatic way. "Stop," Awi says with a snicker as Amalthea wipes a tear from her eye. The commoner elf taps his cards on the table after receiving his hit and gives the bullman a confident look. "I'll send some money to her after I win." "Thank you," Joran responds with a smile and a few nods. "Well, you're a good son, and I owe it to you." A loud snort erupts from the bull's nose, followed by a sizable bang on the table from his hand, as he cracks up in laughter. "Look, I'm not paying him a dime when I win," the elf in the leather jacket responds, wagging his hand toward the commoner. The commoner rests his elbow on the table and speaks in a challenging tone. "Oh, is that right?" Without another word, he pushes his pile of coins into the center, then stands up. "Come on, then." A smile creeps across the other elf's face as he stands up and pushes his pile in, then rests his hands on his hips. The two elves have become so competitive that they have failed to notice Awi pushing his small pile of coins into the pot. Joran smiles to this as Amalthea and Awi look at their cards. An ace, a 2, and a 9 of clubs is laid flat in front of the two loudly bickering elves and the snickering bullman. The commoner presents his cards, 2 5s and a 10. Still not noticing the winning cards, the other elf throws his hands up in sighs, sitting down dramatically. The commoner's hands wrap around the pot as the elf attempts to claim the pile of coins. Awi holds up his hand and points to his cards, which perfectly equal 21. "Woo, we win, Awi!" The young mage cheers. "What will you do with your winnings?" The commoner face palms as the other two at the table crack up. "He'll pay the tab, young one." The members of the table stand up, continuing to make jokes at one another's expense. Before he leaves, the massive 7-foot-tall deer man places his fist on his chest and nods to the young mage. "It was good working with you, child." He moves that hand to his hip as his friends exit the restaurant. "Until next time." He follows the bullman and two elves out of the building as Amalthea quietly walks home.